Time for another stock review. This one is a very interesting one. I'm very excited to do. Rocket Lab. And it is Rocket Lab, not Rocket Labs. Ticker symbol RKLB. This one's an interesting one for me because, as you know, I am very bullish on Virgin Galactic. However, let's not confuse the stocks at all. We could look at Virgin Orbit. Should we mention Virgin Orbit with Rocket Lab just before a flight? Probably not. But anyway, we got to cover it. We got to mention it on this video. This is a full review of the stock. It might take 20 minutes, half an hour. It's a deep dive video. Please watch it to the end. We're going to start very, very basic, very, very simple. And in this video, we're going to cover the value of Rocket Lab. We're going to look at the balance sheet. We're going to look at inside trading, who's buying on the inside, who's selling it, what their margins are, what their financials are, their balance sheet. We're going to look at news. It's very, very important. As we have Virgin Galactic, I'm just going to mention it, selling off today. Virgin Orbit went bust. We've had some recent selling off, of course, when they failed on the last mission. We got the CEO selling shares, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to cover the news. I'm going to show you their website. We're going to talk about the upcoming flight. All of that. We're going to start off very, very simple, very, very light. And as we go down through the video, we're going to get much, much more in depth. So just to give you a little flavor of what we've got coming up, we're going to discuss it, review it in lots of different ways. I'm going to show you my position, how much I have in the stock. I'm going to share with you the financials. We're going to go through the balance sheet and we're going to look who's buying and who's selling. We're also going to look at the website, the upcoming flights. We're also going to cover the news as well, the next launch. We're also going to cover the back test and see how it compares to other stocks in the same industry. So a lot to cover if you are interested in space. Virgin Galactic, Rocket Lab, all of those things, SpaceX and all the rest of it, you might find interesting in this video. Right, this is one I've been looking forward to doing for a while, so I'm quite excited about it. I am invested in this company, I'll tell you right off the bat. This is not financial advice, this is my opinion. This is what I am doing. We aim to be the most honest, real channel on YouTube TV. And my reviews get placed on AlphaSpread, which is one of the best algorithmic software platforms to review stocks. They post my reviews above in priority over CNBC, Mad Money, Bloomberg, you name it. They love the way I present my earnings, and I cover every stock I do a review on. They put their earnings, they put my review on the page, and you can go and see it there. All right. At the end of the video, I'll also give my all of you a link if you want to get the software for free. My members get a lifetime discount, which makes my membership completely free. I'm always bringing the best deals to my members. Right. Let's get straight into it. We have got Rocket Lab today down. We've got Virgin Galactic down. I am going to sort of compare the two, even though one is space tourism and one is putting satellites into space. However, they do have some correlation with the way they trade and the kind of person that invests in them. All right, so let's get straight into it without further ado. We're going to start basic. I know some of you complain that it starts off basic where you have to watch into the video because not everyone knows the basics and not everyone knows what Rocket Lab is. This is the idea of this video is introduce a stock to people that have never seen it before and just start out basically. So first of all, Rocket Lab. What is Rocket Lab? This is my position. I have two positions in it. I have I'm up, as you can see, I'm up 34% in my, beg your pardon, I'm showing you my Virgin Galactic. There you go. Rocket Lab, I'm down. Sorry, I thought that was surprising. Anyway, Rocket Lab, I am down on it at the moment, 11%. It's 3.9% of my portfolio. I've also got that's $3,500. I've also got another nothing actually on my Roth IRA. I'm not in there at all, just $4.22. So let's focus on my main account, my brokerage account, which is it's nearly 4%, 3.92 of my portfolio. What is Rocket Lab then? Okay, it's not Virgin Galactic. It's not putting people in space. It is, however, putting satellites in space. You can compare it to Virgin Orbit, but Virgin Orbit really didn't present themselves very well out of a back shed. It looked bloody awful. And they didn't fail because of their failed mission, because Rocket Lab had a failed mission. They failed because investors thought, what a load of rubbish this is. Dumped the stock. They couldn't raise capital. We know Matthew Brown called into the show. We know they tried to save it. They couldn't. It wasn't funded the same way as Rocket Lab is. Much, much better business, much better structure, much better presentation. And presentation is very, very important to a company. Rocket Lab is an aerospace company which engages in the development and of rocket launch and control systems for the space and defense industries. It operates through the launch services and space system segments. Let me open up a bit more. The launch services segment provides launch services to customers on a dedicated mission or ride-share basis. The space systems segment includes space engineering, program management, satellite components, and spacecraft manufacturing and mission operations. The company was founded by Peter Beck in 2006 and is headquartered in Long Beach, California. The listed name is RKLB, the ticker symbol. Peter Beck, the CEO, who has taken some flack for selling shares recently, but we'll talk about that. Well, I say recently, a few months ago, but we'll talk about that in the video, why that's important or not so important. Employees, 1,400, Long Beach, California, founded in 2006. Average volume, 5.81 today, 4.64 so far. So volume's looking pretty hot today, as we are only 9 o'clock in the morning Central Time at the moment. No dividend. It's a growth company. Of course, growth companies don't have dividends. They might have one in the future, but they are a growth stock. There's no dividend to be earned here. Okay, price earnings ratio. Yes, it loses money. Capital expenditure. It's a rocket company. It's spending money into building its business. Price to earnings ratio, 11.90. Now, yes, it's losing money, but you need to compare that to other industries, which is hard to do. There's not a lot of people doing it. We know what happened to Astra, or where Astra's going. Virgin Orbit's gone bust. Virgin Galactic isn't really the same thing, but you might want to compare that if you can. Market cap is 2.09 billion. High today, 4.39. And the 52-week high, 805. So you can see volatility, it is there. Right, now then, starting off with a very basic analysis here from Morningstar. We're going to go much, much deeper than they do. But this is just, again, for the beginner who wants to look at it in a nice, simple way. The buy rating is 80%. They love it at Morningstar. Remember, though, analysts, unlike me, I'm here to just share my views, the facts. I'm not pumping it. No one's paying me to do it. I'm not influenced in any way. I don't care whether my stocks go up, down, or sideways. My priority is to bring you the most honest, real information, even if it means I lose money. I don't care. I'm about bringing you the best information, right? Analysts seem to like it. No selling, just buying and holding right now. As we can see, it is losing money. We go back to Q1 of 22. It was losing money. Analysts got it wrong. They got it wrong. It missed on earnings. It met expectations in Q3 22. It missed again in Q4. It missed again in Q1 of 23. It missed again. Keeps missing. However, Q3 23, it finally beat on earnings, looking good, moving up, will become profitable. This company is expected to become profitable, perhaps early next year. And we've had a few difficulties, of course. It's a rocket company. Things go wrong. Let's see the sentiment of the stock. Who is buying? What people also own that buy this company? Well, Aerospace isn't any competition as far as I'm concerned. Completely different scale of company. Not good at all. I wouldn't touch Aerospace with a barge pole. Many of you might say, well, I wouldn't touch Virgin Galactic either. I think that's rubbish. Well, that's fair enough, but they are much better funded than Astra Space is, and way better than Virgin Orbit, and way better at marketing, even though it has got better recently. It wasn't so good earlier. Black Sky Technology, to be honest, I don't know anything about it. Joby Aviation, don't know about Planet Labs so much. Joby Aviation, interesting. But what this does show us, of course, it's people in the space sector are investing in Rocket Lab, no surprise. But what this does show you, they are all penny stocks, other than, thank you very much, Tran Huan Trong, who just subscribed to my channel in the making of this video. I told you it's live. Joby Aviation is not a penny stock. Anything above $5 is not regarded as a penny stock. All right, but Rocket Lab currently is, and it probably hates that status, but it is nevertheless a penny stock. Right, let's go now, start to go deeper. Don't forget to subscribe to the video and give us a thumbs up. One of our biggest investors in Rocket Lab left this comment, and he said, I just want to share it on the screen. Hi Martyn, looking forward to your Rocket Lab review. It could do with a bit of a pump before the launch, as it's been a bit stagnant lately, moving in the 415 to 435 range. Of course, he's talking about the flight. Yes, it's just around the corner, and we're going to cover the flight in a minute and all the news around it. Just as I do mention Pete Barker, he's just dropped a comment here to me. 2 Rocket Lab Photon spacecraft to launch on the first New Glenn mission. NASA expects that a Mars small-sat mission will be on the first launch of Blue Origin's New Glenn launch vehicle. Now, just to clarify, this is coming from one of my members who I can verify. We are in members mode right now, so we're not getting false information. However, full disclosure, I can't verify that information. That's come from Pete Barker, one of our members. I'm sure it's reliable and good information. He's a very good asset and member of our family, to our team. But as I say, that wasn't the information I have. I'm just sharing with you what he shared with me. Right, let's now go over to we're going to go deep dive in a few moments with the balance sheet. But right now, let's look at the website. Now, the website is very, very important. This is where Virgin Orbit went wrong. This is where a very, very different prospect with Rocket Lab, I have to say. Pete Barker did mention this to me when I first was looking at Rocket Lab. Virgin Orbit was a very similar company, putting satellites into space. Looked really great. The way they were doing it underneath a Boeing, it looked really good. Potentially more efficient than Rocket Lab, potentially. Except they didn't look like NASA. They didn't look like SpaceX. They looked like a backstreet garage. And that was the problem. Investors lost faith with them. Richard Branson was, selling out. It looked rubbish. And when they failed, that wasn't the problem. SpaceX has failed all the time. Tesla failed. Virgin Galactic fails. Rocket Lab, they've all failed, crashed, blown up rockets, lost money. It's all part of it. However, Rocket Lab seemed to know how to put it right, and how to present themselves and keep the investor engaged. However, it hasn't been smooth sailing. A lot of people have dumped the stock. There's been some short interest. We're going to show you the short interest in a minute as well. But there's been some ups and downs. People were very negative about the CEO selling his shares and all the rest of it. Anyway, let's go into some news, and then we're going to look at the balance sheet, the numbers, the margins, and so on and so forth. Let's have a quick look at this one. This was supplied by Motley Fool. Don't really like the Motley Fool, to be honest. A lot of their reviews are kind of, I think, biased. But, however, I pick a few things that I think might be interesting. The company is literally trying to go to the moon, but can it be a viable business? That's a very good opening statement. The space economy is surrounded by a lot of hype. Companies like SpaceX, Amazon investing billions of dollars to build businesses beyond planet Earth, with some analysis expecting the industry to hint at a size of $1 trillion in 2030. However, a lot of this hype hasn't materialized into stock returns. For example, the ARK Invest Space Exploration Innovation ETF is off 33% from its peak, even as the broad market inches closer to all-time highs. Rocket Lab is one of these ambitious space startups trying to propel the industry to new heights, pun intended. It is one of the few companies to successfully launch rockets into orbit. Of course, Virgin Orbit did it, but then they had a failure, as did Rocket Lab most recently, but they fixed it. They've got over it much quicker than Rocket Lab, Virgin Orbit could have done. They ran out of money and was unable to fix the problem. Passing even long-running startup Blue Origin. However, investors have soared on the stock, with shares down close, soured on the stock, with shares down close to 80% from all-time highs, because a lot of negativity around the stock, a lot of negativity around the industry, and it's very high risk. If it blows up, you lose billions of dollars. It takes you a long time to fix it, right? And we've seen what's happening to Astra. We've seen what happened to Virgin Orbit. We've seen the pains that SpaceX has gone through, which is a private company. You can't buy shares in it, however. But people know how difficult it is to do what they're trying to do. Does that now make the stock a buy for investors looking to bet on the space company, scaling up operations but losing money? Rocket Lab was started back in 2006 by entrepreneur and space enthusiast Peter Beck. He calls Rocket Lab an end-to-end space company, a catchy moniker that essentially means he wants it to offer customers products and services for every part of spaceflight. Of course, these include rocket launches, but also satellite services, space modules, solar panels for orbital projects, and in-flight services. We're going to move on now from Motley Fool's presentation and look at other things. We are going to go back to go deep in a few moments to the financials, and I'm going to share that with you, and inside trading, who's buying, who's selling, what's the margins, what's the profits, all of that coming up in a minute. But we do want to cover the news because, of course, in a few days' time, November 28th, at the making of this video, we have a flight and we'll be covering it, hopefully live on the show. Rocket Lab to establish space structures complex in Maryland for advanced composite products. Let's move down this news. This is just out yesterday. Satellite components and separation systems. Let me just read this bit of news for you, and we'll talk about the flight in a second. Rocket Lab has expanded their space systems business with a dedicated production and development complex designed to deliver a comprehensive suite of advanced composite products for the space industry and to further vertically integrate supply for the company's internal needs across launch and space systems. All right. Okay, the ribbon cutting for Rocket Lab done there in Maryland. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. A lot of people say I don't pronounce Maryland correctly, being from England. Anyway, we'll just get a little bit of this, and then I'm going to cover the new flight and then the financials. To support its growing composite product line, Rocket Lab is establishing a space structures complex in Middle River, Maryland, that will support the development, manufacture of carbon composite spacecraft buses, structural panels and assemblies, satellite dispensers, aerostructures and heat shields, composite overwrap pressure vessels, solar panel substrates, launch vehicle structures, and carbon composite structures for Rocket Lab's new medium lift launch vehicle, Neutron. This is the new vehicle. We're very excited about this, and of course, we're just days away from a flight. We're very excited about that. I'll talk about it in a second. Rocket Lab Space Structures Complex will be established in the 113,000 square foot former Lockheed Martin vehicle launch building in Middle River, which has been home to aerospace manufacturing since 1929. The new complex builds on Rocket Lab's deep heritage in advanced composite manufacturing, including the development of Electron, the world's first carbon composite orbital launch vehicle. Of course, we know why carbon is so important for the lightness of it. Of course, it takes a lot of energy to get a rocket into space. If it can make itself more efficient, it can make itself more profitable, because one of the biggest expenses is launching the damn thing. And if we can trim the weight and put more of the weight of the payload than the actual vehicle itself, we can make the business more profitable, because it is a very expensive business. Okay, including the Photon lunar spacecraft that developed the capstone satellite to the moon's orbit for NASA in 2022. Rocket Lab also currently manufactures and launches its in-house designed carbon composite Maxwell satellite dispensers, as well as advanced solar array substrates. Expanding on these products, Rocket Lab's new composite offering spans design and engineering tools and molds, manufacturing, assembly, and testing for space applications. Now then, we're now going to go into the business side of Rocket Lab, and then we're going to come back, of course, to the news of the flight, the upcoming flight, and why we're all very, very excited about that. Okay, let's go into it now. Now we're looking at the financials. Now then, because the company isn't profitable yet, let me explain how this software works. I believe it's the most advanced algorithmic type software to value a company way better than the competition. It's why I'm partnered with this company, why I use it for my reviews. Because of that, we rely on certain metrics and information. And if you're not profitable and you're not making any money, we don't have that information. We can't run that through our system. We cannot produce all the parts of our analysts in our survey on the stock. We can only provide you with what we have. We're not guessing. We're not making up stuff. This is not opinion based. This is purely numbers. If we don't have the numbers, we can't plug it in. So we have what we have. So 236 million revenue and up 2% on the most recent range. You can see how things are improving upward. Operating income, negative 4% on the most recent range, negative of minus 167 million operating income. But as you can see, analysts are expecting that to improve. Net income down a negative 169. Again, the analyst is in light blue. We're expecting that to improve very near term. Operating cash flow at negative 75.6 million, moving down, but again improving, and analysts are expecting improvement over time. Capital expenditure, we have been investing heavily on the company, negative 59.3 million, and that's going to continue as expected by analysts. Let's look at the balance sheet, how this differentiates itself from Virgin Orbit, which we know was a flipping nightmare. It had no funding. That was the problem with it. It was a SPAC, and I don't know if Rocket Lab was, but Virgin Orbit was special purpose acquisition company like Virgin Galactic, doesn't start off very well. It's not properly funded. The SPAC King Chamath made all the money, ran off, and then basically took all the money out of the potential for these companies. However, let's move on. Balance sheet, 951 million of assets, okay? Remember, assets are all very well and good, but they have to make money. Rockets lose money. They depreciate like a car, much worse than a car, I would imagine. However, they have assets of 951 million. And cash and short-term investments, it makes up 288 million of that. Liabilities, 365. That's very, very good. We're around about the sort of just over the third of the company's liabilities. We don't want 80-90%. That's good. Long-term debt, they have some debt, but 15.3 million out of 951 million is good. I don't know yet. I haven't got down. I'm reading this live as I'm doing it. The software's produced these numbers. I'm reading them for the first time. I would expect that to show a good solvency score. We'll give it a solvency score and a profitability score in a moment. Profitability score, of course, will be low, but the solvency score could be quite high from this. Okay, long-term debt, 15 million. That's a concern, but it's only 4.2% of the pie. I'll share that with you over here. We can live with that. We can live with the long-term debt. Other current liability, 74%. So long-term debt is very small. We can live with that. We're happy with that. The efficiency of the company. Now, the efficiency of the company is very, very important. It's very, very important. It will give us the moat of the company. Okay, gross margins are improving, and of course, we are days away from a flight. If that proves successful, the stock will rally, everything will look great, and they'll start making money again. They had a recent failure. We know about the failure. We reported on it live. We had a failure that drove the stock down. Just before that happened, in fact, the CEO sold his stock. Did he know it was going to fail? Of course not. But he sold, and people then sold out, and it got a lot of negative press. However, it presented me with an opportunity to buy it, which I did. I doubled and doubled again when I heard that news. I knew the company was going to do well. But it was a massive overreaction from the CEO selling. And if you looked at how many shares he sold in comparison to how many he owned, it wasn't a big deal. But people jumped on it, tried to drive it down, and it worked. And I ended up buying it cheap. So I was happy with that. However, don't use the word cheap too lightly, because until the company's making money, cheap doesn't mean anything, right? I'm just projecting into the future. Gross margin, 9%. Analysts are predicting that the margins are going to improve, as you can see. Operating margin, negative 64%. Net margin, negative 64%. PCF margin, negative 71%. All right. Now then, I've just got another comment coming in during the making of this video. So I will put it on the screen. Pete Barker, who's one of our investors in Rocket Lab, says, as Peter Beck said, Rocket Lab is a profitable company if they weren't on the road to develop their medium lift rocket Neutron for launch next year. Reusability of the rockets is also very important. Of course, what Pete is saying is if the company wasn't making great capital expenditure right now and investing in the company, we would be profitable. That is incredible for a rocket company, let's be honest. A new, young, innovative rocket company to claim it's profitable, other than the fact it's investing in new technologies and the new platforms, is very, very good and very, very encouraging. And now Virgin Orbit isn't around. And remember, Rocket Lab acquired Virgin Orbit's assets. They swallowed them up. We always said that was going to happen. I even said there's a partnership. There was a little interest of Rocket Lab with Virgin Galactic. Those of you scoffed at me. The reason why I said that is I talked to people on the ground at Rocket Lab. I talked to people on the ground at Virgin Galactic. These companies are both related to me, and I hear things and I share them with you. And even though they are different, they do share similar interests and similar the reasons why they might want to partner with each other or be involved. That's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, let's move on to our fundamental scores now. As I suggested, the profitability of the company at the moment is 20 out of 100. It's not good at all. Well, of course it's not. It could be profitable, as Pete Barker just pointed out. However, we're spending money building out the new technology. So exceptional revenue growth forecast, tick. Exceptional one-year revenue growth, tick. ROE, return on equity, is increasing, tick. ROIC is increasing, tick. All green ticks. However, profitability score is still 20. It's going in the right direction. It is still a new company. It is investing heavily, has capital expenditure. However, we've seen lower, we've seen a lot higher, of course, but I'm more concerned right now in this particular company with this. the solvency score. The solvency score is coming in at 58. 58, it's turning a nice yellow from amber, turning green shortly. It'll turn green around about 60. We are doing well there. Negative net debt, low DE, long-term solvency, high Altman score, all get green ticks. This is good. This is good. That means its balance sheet is good. That means it's got its fundamentals in check. It's investing but not spending too much. It's managing its debts. Debt interest is going to come down in the spring, the summer. I've said the Fed have paused, so they've gone through the pain. They've taken the worst of it. It's going to improve. I am happy with that. I like to see that solvency score is very, very good as far as I'm concerned. For a rocket company, it's exceptional. It's exceptional. It's why I'm buying it. It's why I'm all over it, okay? Alongside my Virgin Galactic, this is one I am all over. Wall Street price targets. Let's have a look at it. We'll zoom in. Rocket Lab at the highest range, 194%. Great. But things aren't perfect in a perfect world. High interest rates are still going to be up for a while. They will come down. Super Black just subscribed to me during the making of this video. Thank you very much indeed for your support. Rocket Lab average forecast, $8.7, 103%. That's what we want. If we're going to buy a rocket company, we are not looking at 5-10% gains. We have to be looking at 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 10x. Otherwise, why the hell are we risking it? We might as well just buy the S&P 15% and be done with it. So we need that average forecast. What about the low forecast? This is where it gets another tick for me. I like this because the lowest forecast is 505. We could be at 6 or 7 after the next flight. 18%. You've beaten the S&P between 10 and 15% on average. So worst case scenario, I think we are more looking at this scenario. So we could double our money in the next few weeks, even by the end of the year. That's why I'm all in with Rocket Lab at this price. Now then, moving on down, you do need to do your homework, and I'm going to give you the link in a minute to all these competitors. These are the competitors of Rocket Lab: Boeing, Raytheon, Lockheed, North Corp. I'm not going to give them all to you, and you can go and check them out yourself. I'll give you the link at the bottom in a minute, and and you can have a look at that yourself. Now then, here's the negative news. Boo! Sell the stock, get out of it, short it. Even the CEO is selling it. Can't be good, can it? Let's look at it. Let's look at it. First of all, the transaction was made September the 11th, which was a couple of months ago. Peter Beck, CEO and chairman, doesn't get much worse than this. He sold $20 million worth of Rocket Labs. Terrible. I'm dumping the stock. I am out. We don't want to see the CEO selling the company. However, this is a small proportion of what he owns. Elon Musk has done it. Tesla still soars away. Not a concern. If he sold 90% of the company, you may have an issue. However, he also needs to do the right thing as a businessman, and this was done just before the last failure. All right? Will he buy it back now? Well, we haven't got that information yet. That could show at any point. I don't know. But the point is, this is not a bad story. It looks bad. Shorters will jump all over it and say it's terrible. The CEO, blah, 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 blah. It made headlines around the world. However, it's not a big enough proportion of his overall allocation to actually mean anything. But of course, people jumped all over it and made a big deal out of it. It's not actually a relevant story. But there we go. A bit more detail. There you go. Zoom in there. September the 11th, he sold 20,232,000. The CEO, you can see there. amount, 3,600. He sold it at 562. That was the price that he sold it. Anyway, not a concern to me, but there are those that love that sort of news. It's very important news, but it presented me the opportunity to buy it. I actually liked it. All right, for me, it was good. It was a good move. Anyway, moving down. Now then, we're going to cover some important news now. This is important. It's not worth. It's not going to be missed with me. Short interest, 7.64. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that too much? Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good because the CEO sold. People know that it's a high-risk stock. The last flight failed. There's potential for a downside. Of course, but that's why you buy a rocket company, because the risks are great, but also the profits are great. So I don't think we're going to have a problem with the next flight at all. I think we're going to double in the next few weeks. That's why I'm all in. Why I'm all in on 8% margin. I'm all in. However, there's some short interest. When is short interest bad? Well, let's give you a comparison. You look at something like Apple, for example, you're less than 1%. All right. So a great company that's no one's thinking is going down doesn't have hardly any, less than 1%. We've got 7%. Is that bad? Well, I'll give you an idea. When we get to 20, it's regarded as extreme. Does that mean we're going to get a short squeeze at 20%? No. Virgin Galactic was at 22. I'm calling for a short squeeze. Does that mean a short squeeze happens at 20%? No. It needs other things to happen, volume to come in, other things to happen. It's when it starts to happen. But a short squeeze, GameStop was 100%, to give you an example. 7% means it's high risk. People like to bet against high risk. It's how they make their money. I never short stock, don't believe in it. But it always presents me with opportunity because it drives stock down on negative news. And I see it as an opportunity. That is not excessive, but it is of note. It is worth knowing that people are trying to drive the stock down. We know that because we at the beginning of the review, we looked at the sort of people that are buying stock. Right. Now we're going to look at a little bit of outside thought here. Now, this is where I like doing these because you'll see my reviews here. My reviews will be here above Yahoo Finance. And someone said to me, "Oh, you're only saying that your reviews go above everybody else's because they're the most recent." Correct. They go above because they're the most recent. However, I speak directly with the CEO and founder and owner of Alpha, and they like my reviews and they feature them all. They don't feature all of Yahoo. They don't feature all of Greenstock. They don't feature all of CNBC and Bloomberg. They feature all of mine. So my earnings and reviews will be here. So they do rank above because of that special relationship. Okay. But I am going to look because a lot of analysts on Yahoo and Bloomberg, and when I first started investing, thought, right, I'm going to listen to the experts. Flipping heck, did I learn that lesson pretty quick. It took me about a year to learn it, but I learned it nevertheless. Very often analysts are influenced to say all kinds of things that aren't really accurate. They're reading off scripts. They don't really know about the stock. They're not necessarily in it, or they are in it, and then they're influencing the audience. I don't care whether the stock goes up or down or sideways. My priority is to give you the accurate and honest information. I've called out so many analysts recently. Let's have a listen and let's see if I can pick anything up on this. Then we'll look at the sentiment. We have a score for that. Then we'll look at the new flight, what's around the corner and what we're going to do and how we're going to invest and trade on it. And then we'll look at the S&P compared to Virgin Galactic and the S&P. So let's have a quick listen in. Here we go.
Shares of Rocket Lab sliding today after the satellite delivery company's latest rocket malfunction. Rocket Lab reported on Thursday that its Electron rocket failed following a successful liftoff from its New Zealand launch pad. Rocket Lab noted the Electron had previously delivered 171 satellites on 37 orbital missions, but that its next flight, currently scheduled for the end of the quarter, will be postponed and revised. Third quarter revenue guidance in the coming days. You know, we sort of call Rocket Lab a satellite delivery company, but they really are looking to expand beyond that to compete heavily with.
Yes, they're a lot more than just a satellite delivery company. And as we expected, on a failure like this, everyone dumps the stock. But again, this presented me with the opportunity. You heard there, she mentioned the successes. It's been very successful in its flights. This is one of very few. In fact, I think they've only failed recently in the last few years once. I don't quote me on that, but their record is exceptional.
SpaceX. This is a huge setback for the company. We saw the stock moving back in a big way here, and now that third quarter launch, at least, sort of on hold.
See, I don't agree. It's not a huge setback at all. I think SpaceX blow up a lot more rockets than Rocket Lab. It's not good, but for the investors, it's great. It gives you the opportunity to buy the reaction. So I don't see it as a major setback. It's unfortunate. However, for long-term investors, it's very fortunate.
As they really look to see what was behind that failed launch today.
You know, you live in LA, so I turn to you on all things Hollywood. And now after that fantastic documentary on the moon, I just turned to you on all things rocket and space.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is a company that's based in Long Beach, just outside of LA. But really, they have really been riding a lot of this momentum at a time when sort of investors have been laser focused on SpaceX. Yes, they have a massive lead, but Rocket Lab really sort of gaining on that. So, that probably reflects even more what we saw today, why investors have pulled back. Certainly a big setback, but...
Yeah, I don't really think it's a big setback at all. But anyway, I really, I'm not a fan of these analysts who just sit around. They're not in the stock, or they are in, and they're influencing the stock. They just waffle. Does anyone agree with that? I think Yahoo Finance and Bloomberg as well. They just waffle. Don't really have anything to say. Anyway, we'll come on to the flight in a minute, and we'll look at the sentiment. Now, this is important. Our software here picks up the news around the company, generates these scores. And positive news, it can tell if it's positive news, negative news, or neutral. Over the last 90 days, as you can see, we have 27% of negative news sentiment coming out that we can find. Over the last 30 days, that decreased to 9.5%. Good. 7 days, all good. Getting ready for the flight. Love it. There might not be anything today. Oh, there is. 2 today. It's looking good. Sentiment's good. This tells you, and why I'm showing you this metric here, is this is telling you that the stock is going to go up. Not a guaranteed fact, whatever, but in my opinion, it's going to go up on this flight. And if it's successful, it's going to double, in my opinion. It's going to double, in my opinion. All right, let's see if you agree with me. Okay, now we're going to move over, before we do a back test, on the most important news of the day. Of course, we are looking at the next launch. We'll be covering it live. All right, so let's have a look. Here we go. The moon god awakens. Good name for it. Rocket Electron. Here we go. No earlier than November the 28th. Launch Complex 1. And that's New Zealand time. We'll be covering it if we can indeed cover it. Let's zoom in so you can see exactly what the announcement is here. Rocket Lab will launch a dedicated Electron mission for the Institute for Kyushu Pioneer of Space, a Japan-based Earth imaging company. The launch is scheduled for liftoff during a launch window that opens on November the 28th and extends into December. The mission will carry IQP's QPS SAR-5 satellite named Kosamomi. I've got to be honest, I'm not Japanese. I'll give you that. Into orbit on a dedicated Electron mission from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in Maya, New Zealand. The mission has been named the Moon God Awakens, acknowledgement of Usami, the Japanese god of the moon. Apologize for my Japanese here. All right. In addition to being launched by Electron, the QPS SAR-5 satellite will use Rocket Lab's Mark II motorized light band MLB as its separation system, demonstrating the company vertically integrated space systems strategy. Now that's happening within days. So I think the stock is going to double. If we get a successful flight, we're gonna do more than that. Anyway, let's move on now to our final thing before I give you my final thoughts on the stock, whether I should buy it. Obviously, I bought it. I stand by what I say what I do what I say, all right? Okay, let's look at a back test. Very important. Because if you're going to invest, you're not joining a fan club, are you? You want to know that you are buying something of value, of worth, and it's going to return to you an investment. Now, if you put $10,000 in the S&P, Virgin Galactic, or Rocket Lab on January 2021, okay, this is where you would be. In red is the S&P. You'd have more money, no volatility compared to rocket companies. No surprise. You'd have 10 grand. You'd now have a lovely balance of a balance of 11,657 since 2021. That's as far back as we can go, I'm afraid, with these companies. Okay. Fine, great. We've made ourselves some money. Virgin Galactic, oh dear, $10,000 down to 624. That's in, excuse the sound effects. That's in orange. In blue, however, you would have gone from $10,000, which is Rocket Lab, down to 4. You lost half your money, or just over half your money, okay? So there we go. So as you can see, the S&P is the clear winner over this short period of time, but it would be. No doubt about it. We can't go back any further than this. However, I think we've proved the balance sheet, the potential, the proprietariness of it, the uniqueness of it, having crushed the competition. Virgin Orbit's gone, Astra's no competition. Virgin Galactic isn't in this sector, but they're doing well now. This is good news around Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab helps Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic helps Rocket Lab. We've seen all the good news, all the good sentiment on the stock. That's all looking promising. The flight's good. They repaired and fixed the issue from the last flight in record time. Looking good. We know that the sentiment has all turned green. We know the balance sheet is good. We know the debt position is good. We now know the amount of shares that the CEO sold was not of concern. You know I'm all in on this one. So what do I think? Well, for me, without a question, it is a strong buy. Absolutely a strong buy, even at the price of today. I have bought it lower than where it is today, but I am happy with it. I am holding my position here. Let me just change back the to the line. I prefer the line. Sometimes you can just see it more clearly. Anyway, 419, I'll share with you again in fact, I've already shared you my position. I don't need to do that again. I'm holding. I'm not adding any more. I believe that this stock can 10x in 5 to 10 years time. It can double by the end of the year. It's more than I deserve to make. So I've got enough shares of Rocket Lab. It's in balance of my portfolio. If it goes to 0, it's not going to wipe me out. It's not going to happen though. I don't think there's any, I don't really feel any risk whatsoever. I feel very confident in the next flight. Management team are excellent. The fundamentals are good. It is high risk, but it's also high reward. Pete Barker has just dropped in a comment right here at the end of the video. Best time to buy before Wall Street wake up. Yeah, absolutely. But of course, I'm not here to pump and dump the stock. I'm here to share my opinions, what I'm doing with my money, the facts, the numbers run through our service we just used. Click above my head if you want to know when I'm buying and selling any stock before I do it on my X account. Click above my head and below in the description, you'll find the link to Alpha where I give you the link. Everyone that clicks on my link will get a free program where you can have a couple of stocks you can review in detail like this. Should you wish to do more, my members will get a lifetime discount, which makes my membership free with the discount that you get from this service. So you're going to love that. And as members as well, I will review stocks for you, and there's other things I can do, many other perks as well. Over here, you'll see more videos on Rocket Labs and more of my full reviews on all the stocks. I'll put the playlist over there for you. Go and check it out. If you're a member of my channel, you can get a review like this, and I will spend 20-30 minutes posting this video, and I'll put it out later. And if you like this video and you want to promote the video, do a super chat underneath in the comments. Sorry, not a super chat, a super thanks comment underneath the video. I will pin it to the top. YouTube will see that you're liking it, watching it, and even tipping the video, which is essentially what you're doing, and it will promote it out to more people. So more people will get to hear about Rocket Lab. I like Rocket Lab. I'm very thankful for Pete Barker getting me interested into the stock. I'm holding it. I'm not selling it. It could double, triple, quadruple in years to come. I'm very, very confident of this stock. So there you go. There's my review. Until next time, as always, right at the end of the video, I got a comment there from Pete, and he said, "Thanks for a great and honest review, Martyn. You are very welcome." That was actually done for Liam Laffey, who sponsored the video. I say sponsored. He didn't pay me to do it. He just asked me as a member, would I make him a video? And I did. Liam, I hope you liked it. I hope you share it with all your friends when it comes out. Till next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.